Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter. That is a somewhat drunk Connor, and we are going to talk about Arrow Season 5, Episode 10. It's called Who Are You? Full spoilers for the episode. Now, going into this, we should point out that our Episode 9 review before Christmas was probably the most positive Arrow review we've ever done.
Do you know what? It was.
Keeping in mind that we've only been reviewing it since, start of season 4? Start of
Yeah.
season 4, yeah. Yeah, on YouTube, start of season 4. And that was easily the most positive we'd ever been. We had some nitpicks, of course, we still had things to complain about. But
It
overall,
it was not a bad episode, to be fair to it.
yeah. This one,
Maybe back to normal.
we'll see. Back to normal for this season, sure. I don't think it's as bad as season 4.
It's not. It's not.
It's
But back to normal for what the previous 8 episodes were.
Yeah, it was like honestly, I'm having a hard time properly getting angry about it or complaining. It's not making me annoyed like I was last season. It's just kind of it's
I don't know.
easily the weakest of the four shows.
When it said she's using a more powerful frequency, as a sound guy, I was pretty pissed off.
Well,
Frequencies are not inherently more powerful than the other. They're just different. That's it. They're just different. They're not stronger or weaker. God damn it.
Yes. So the big thing that happened, and it's funny because obviously it'd been a month and a half since the last episode, and it was funny some of the stuff that I'd forgotten. I had forgotten that the guy the cop that Green Arrow had mistakenly killed that he thought was Prometheus was Felicity's boyfriend. Now this was aided by the fact that for about half the episode, Felicity didn't act like her boyfriend had just died.
Yeah. I would just say, in addition to things we'd forgotten, I'd forgotten that my liver hates Arrow.
You did go through about 4 drinks during the course of that episode.
I think I went through more than... because normally I drink a lot before Arrow, and then I get there maybe 2, maybe 3 during the episode, depending on how often I feel like I need to fill up, and how often they say, "Are you okay?" which happened in the first 2.5 bloody minutes, I should point out.
Yeah, that happened really quickly. Because obviously the big cliffhanger at the end of the last episode was, oh look, it's Laurel. Laurel's back alive. And we had a lot of crazy theories as to why. Of course, the most boring one was the obvious one, which turned out to be true. It's just Black Siren from Flash.
I think we did mention that in the review.
Oh, we did. No, I'm sure we mentioned that was a possibility.
I'll be
that
honest,
was the obvious one.
I'm always drunk when we do these, and that was a long time ago, so my memory's a bit fuzzy on whether or not we actually did.
I know we definitely put that forward, but we had fun theorizing lots of other crazy reasons.
Can I just say, God damn you, marketing department for this show, who put this in the trailers. That was a dick move.
Yeah,
someone does not like Googie.
They spoiled who she actually was in the trailers, which was really weird because it made the whole start of it where she's like, "Oh, Oliver, I'm back." Sarah like teleport me at the wave rider at the last second.
Just a straight up comedy.
Yeah, because I was just laughing because I knew it was all a lie. I was like, where did she get all this information? Where did she do all this research? Where she knows
it wasn't even like, oh, maybe she still is, maybe she's not. It was just, this is funny.
Yeah, it's funny because we know she's lying.
Yeah.
And Felicity, of course, doesn't believe her and does some DNA tests. And I will admit, though, I did like the whole... I think it's Ragman who says, what, is she like our evil twin that we don't know about? And then Felicity goes, oh, crap, she does have an evil twin.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a couple of intentional laughs that did make me laugh. I'm going to give it that.
Well, fair credit where it's due. And while we're on positives, one half decent fight scene.
Yeah. Particularly when Green Arrow and Prometheus had a little fight and sparring moment. It was all in one shot, or for the most part, it looked pretty good. It was, because some of the fights we've been critical, especially last season, the fights had gotten really bad and how they were filmed and stuff. And this
was on par with most of the season 1 and 2 fights. That we, at least I know you just enjoyed season 1 and 2 less than I did, but the fights were always decent, at least.
Oh yeah, it was the best part of the show was the action.
Yeah, and this was on par with those.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. So we get a lot of Felicity, who doesn't act like her boyfriend's just died, mentions it halfway through the episode. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing. And
it's funny because they showed us as in the previously, but didn't mention Felicity there.
Yeah, because they showed us the whole like, oh, he killed this guy and it was a mistake, and they bring it up again. DA, not Jake
not
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Yeah, it brings up the whole event, and so it's an ongoing thing. Although not Jake Gyllenhaal goes off for a really boring side plot with Diggle, where he's going to defend Diggle against the general
Do you know
who's
what is
corrupt.
really annoying about this? Like, I really like Diggle as a character overall. I mean, he's
not
a solid addition in general.
Yeah, but the problem is he's not grown since season 1. He's the exact same character he was in season 1.
He is, and this is just throw him off to the side. We'll deal with it in a bit. It's cool.
Yeah, so he's doing that. I didn't know. There's a whole thing where he gets him to punch him so that the general can't take. Because they know that if the general puts him in transit, he'll stage an escape so he can just shoot him in the head or something like that. So that doesn't.
That bollocks.
So he fights to keep him there with some made up law about. So since he's committed a second offence, I now have
jurisdiction. And he's mine.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
And the general's like, I'm going to phone the president. Oh, yeah. She'll be down you on this one.
This feels really made up to me. This rule, but okay, I'll go with it. I know
I said she there for president, and I'm drunk. I don't remember. I think I heard she, but I forgot to double check like I planned to.
He didn't say either. He just said, because it was DA who said, I've always wanted an autograph when he's talking about getting the president's signature on something.
And I thought he said I wanted her on it, but I'm drunk, so don't take my word for it.
Yeah, really don't. Yeah, so they figure out that it's Black Siren, and Black Siren comes in and screams at them, and then they put her in a cage, and Black Siren destroys the statue. Oliver's all, oh, we should give her a chance, circumstances, and that's all fine and well. But Felicity doesn't trust her. She lets her escape, but she puts tracking things in her.
Nano.
Nano. There's nanotech, yeah.
Is it just nanotech that she says?
No, there's another word. I can't remember the specific word. Who cares what the specific word was?
Nano something. And they were like, oh, that's how we got whoever last season. Dark.
Yeah, Anarchy and Dark. That was how they used it last season. Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, you're gonna reference that, Shy?
But that was funny though, because because Oliver's pissed that she's done this on purpose. And he's like, "What have you done, Felicity? What have you done?" And she's like, "Wait, this is why we caught them last year." And he just looked like, and I was like, "How dare you bring up past events to win an argument with me? How dare you? We don't do that in this show."
It was amusing. I'm not sure it was intentional or not though.
It was like,
I mean, it could have been, but maybe it was just like I don't know if it was meant to be. He's just angry that he went behind her back.
Probably. Felicity though was doing a lot of throwing her weight around. So first of all, when the Lorna sort of trap for Black Siren, and Oliver says to all the guys, "Do not intervene. Do not do it. Eyes only.
Eyes only. Do not do anything."
And then Felicity, or Overwatch as the hip kids are calling her now, goes to a private comms channel and says, right, you have it on my authority to move if she makes any sudden movements.
I have a question about how these comms work. So normally, you would change your frequency, right? Mm-hmm. Like a radio. You'd change your frequency, and they'd also change theirs, so they're receiving on the same frequency. They just receive on all frequencies, and she changes, and they hear it. Like, how does this work?
I've seen that done on other shows. It's probably just a made-up thing. I could maybe buy that it's not traditional radio frequencies, though. Maybe it's more digital.
No, that's fair. I'm not really criticising Arrow in general on this. It occurred to me while I was watching it. It never has before.
Think of it as like a smartphone where one goes to one app, the other signal goes to another app, but it's picking up both.
Oh, that works.
Like, you get your Twitter and your Facebook notifications.
This one, we shit on this show. This one was not actually that. This was a genuine question where it occurred to me that I'd never noticed before. I'm
kind of writing out to them for on their behalf, but I'm just like, I can buy this. I can.
Yeah, no. Like you say, other shows have done this. It just only occurred to me today.
So they eventually beat her. You know, Mr. Terrific builds a stronger frequency device to take her down. For some reason, Thea's not here in this episode, and we get this really... And it's funny, because when this happened at the start of the episode, you said, wait, what are you talking about? This doesn't mean she's not going to be here. Because there's a scene where fake Laurel, is on the phone with Thea, and she's like, oh no, Thea, you don't have to rush back from your conference to come and see me. And that's okay. I hear you're running the mayor's office now. And I was like, that feels like a really cheap line just to explain why Thea's missing for some reason.
Defense. Drunk.
and Connor's like, no, she can still show up later. I was like, no, she's not. That was there just to...
Drunk.
Uh, I don't know, maybe it's because she had to do that Flash episode in the crossover, so she's
No, that
like...
is probably the most. That is the most likely reason.
She's like, I'm owed an episode off, damn it. I did a Flash.
Was she in the Flash one, or was it the Legends one?
That was the Flash one. Because she, remember, it was the start of the Legends one. We're like, oh, thanks for taking my sister home. And we're like, why? The aliens are still here.
Yeah, you're right. Look, it's been 2 months since that episode. It was a long time ago by this standards. And I know we're used to it, you get them a lot and you have to refer back. But when you don't have one for a while, you kind of just forget things.
But you know what the biggest problem with the flashbacks is that the last episode before Christmas didn't have the proper flashbacks. It had just the, flashbacks to season 1 stuff. That was a good episode, right? And then the episode before that was a crossover. So the last time we actually had flashbacks to Russia was episode 7, which
That's
was
got to have been in November, right?
Probably end of November, yeah, late November,
maybe early December at a push.
It depends when the weeks fell on the dates, but that was where the last time we had Russian flashbacks. So when they started off in this one, I'm like, who's this Russian guy? What's going on? And I remembered as it went on. Yeah, he showed up and took him from Dolph Lundgren, and he's like double crossing the Bratva that Ollie's meant to be working for.
Mid-November, this last with the flashbacks. Sorry,
was there a break? Yeah.
November 16th was the last episode with flashbacks.
Yeah, no wonder
so it was a good, solid 2 months.
Yeah, no wonder I was having trouble remembering what had just happened.
And I don't think they said his name once, because I still didn't catch it.
Yeah, the guy who's interrogating him. I don't think it really matters though. It's the guy who worked for Bratva who's double crossing him.
Yeah, but I would have liked to have referenced him by his name in this, and they didn't give me that chance.
And we've had the same problem with the flashback that we've had, well, for seasons now, where the entire set of flashbacks, there was 4 flashback scenes, but it was all actually just one scene that was split in 4. It was just him in the chair the entire time. At least I'll give them this though. At least this time, I don't know if you remember the Dolph Lundgren episode. Well, they brought him out and sat him at the table and like, oh, you've been beaten for like a week. You've been tortured for a week, and it looks like they just ruffled up his shirt a little bit to make it look like he'd been tortured.
This time he's got some blood on his face.
Yeah, they actually made him look like he'd been beaten up at least. So
credit there.
Yeah, good job there. But it ends with Talia al Ghul showing up. Yeah. Which I didn't know she was going to be in the flashbacks. I knew she was coming to the show, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be present.
She'll be in both, I'm sure.
Probably. Of course, Talia is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul that we actually know.
Yeah, unlike Nyssa, thank you.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Nyssa's in the comics, sure, but Talia is the one that we all know and gets used a lot. And
Nyssa's fine, but for the longest time when they used Nyssa, it felt like, we can't really get Talia, so we're going to use Nyssa instead. Well,
keep in mind, when the show started, it was before Dark Knight Rises even came out, so...
Oh, it was. And for a long time, it felt like we can't have anyone we actually want. To the degree where it felt like, well, we can't use Batman, so we'll use Green Arrow.
Pretty much. I mean... Oh, dear.
Yeah, not to discredit the entire show to that degree, because I like the first 2 seasons, but it's always kind of had that to it.
Yeah, it's always we want to be Batman, but we can't, so we're Arrow. And even then, they'd be making a because if it was the exact same plot, other than the fact it was Batman, I'd be like, why is Batman killing so many goddamn people? It would just be as ridiculous. But anyway, so we had that. We had the subplot with Curtis feeling kind of insecure because he keeps getting his ass kicked, and he's lost his husband. So him and Renee bond a little bit, and that was fine. There was a couple of awkward acting moments here or there.
Do you know, this is one of those scenes that made me realise how un-in-depth the previously on was. I feel like the other CW shows this week, because we've had all of them. This is the last one now that Legends has moved. Yeah. I feel like all the others gave me, this is everything I really needed to know that was referential in this particular episode back. Whereas this one, it was like, oh, I'd forgot that was Felicity's boyfriend. I'd forgot about Curtis's husband, leaving like I could have done with this previously on, been another 20, 30 seconds longer and just telling me a little bit more on each thing, because it was very brief. It was very brief. And I think it just partly speaks, though, to how much we actually like this one compared to the other 3, which is not at all, because I feel like we remember things in the other shows better because we're invested, because we care about what's going on, whereas here we're mainly laughing at the ridiculous plot points. We're laughing at the stuff that's... Okay, that is fair, but they still could have done a better job of at least reminding me. Like
They could have, yeah.
like I say, we're more invested in the other shows, so we remember it better.
But to be fair though, like the whole Felicity boyfriend thing, the real problem is there isn't that we didn't know until halfway through the episode. Oh yeah, that was her boyfriend. The problem is that she wasn't acting according to the fact that her boyfriend had just been killed, because she was really upset at the end of the last episode, if you remember. Just before that finished.
Understandably so.
Yeah, and this is meant to be the same night, because it starts with the scene of Ollie coming in to talk to and sees Laurel, and the scene just continues from there.
Yeah,
and then
it does
she walks
that
in.
typical previously on, ends on that, and then just carries on playing.
Yeah, which is nice. I like that. It's a classy move, actually. I enjoy it. And then Felicity walks in the scene, and admittedly she's distracted by Laurel, but from that point on...
Again, fair enough still to it. Like, that I didn't have a problem with.
From that point on to about halfway through the episode, though, she doesn't act like she's lost anything at all. And then it's just brought up at some point, when I think it's Oliver that mentions his name.
Maybe.
And that's when we get she finally starts to show something.
Like I said, I agree. It's a combination of, if we cared, we'd have remembered.
Yeah.
Because that said, even in the first 9 episodes, she was maybe mentioned in that relationship maybe 3 or 4 times at most. It feels like it wasn't much that it was really shown to us.
There was a couple episodes where we got a lot of scenes with them, but then it'd be gone for another couple.
That's what I mean. We got a few episodes where here is their relationship, and then we'd have nothing for a long period of time. Because
I remember worrying that he was going to turn out to be either Vigilante or Prometheus.
Yeah.
And
right.
I remember the plot where he's like, "Oh, you're not telling me things," blah, blah. And then she eventually goes, "I work with the Green Arrow, get over it," blah, blah, blah.
And those are the only 2 episodes I remember with the 2 of them even sharing scenes properly.
Yes. She also stole evidence off his desk at one point. I remember that.
But he wasn't there because it was just his desk.
There was a riveting scene between her and his desk, though.
Fair.
And I think he wasn't that scene. I think he walked away. We seen him leave.
All right. So but I'm not sure that really counts.
He was there. Yeah, and Black Siren pretends she might be good, or she was good once, but then she's just evil. She was never good. Blah 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 blah. Then she's
classic Earth 2 shenanigans.
Yeah, Earth 2. That was actually one of my favourite weird things about this episode. Actually, is when they actually had to explain to everyone else about Earth 2 and about doppelgangers, and it was really funny to watch Oliver try to explain it. Where he's like, "Yeah, Earth 2 parallel Earths exist, if you can believe it, and I guess I kind of have to." It was almost like, we want this plot point, we want to have fake Laurel,
but we don't want to fully commit to it.
We want the drama of it, but we're not the Flash. We don't want to talk about
It honestly feels like faith, not any particular religion in general, but any religion. Like we're gonna go with it for the sake of the story, but we're not putting it out there for definite that it exists. Whereas obviously Flash is in this metaphor, they're like, no, this religion is a fact.
I do kind of wish there was a scene on Flash where they just mentioned there was a break-in or something.
And we saw some security footage of Prometheus getting her.
In Star Labs. And I just kind of wish that on Flash there was a scene that acknowledged something had happened, so that when it popped up in this, it'd be like, oh, that connects to that, that's pretty cool.
Well, that's the thing, because I said, before this happened, I said to you, wait, wasn't she in Star Labs' basement?
Yes.
Their prison facility? And you were like, yeah, she was. And they goes, oh, yeah. Then they show the security footage, and they're like, yeah, they didn't even realize there was a break-in. I was like, okay, but so did they scrub through weeks of security footage to find out when this was?
Yeah, it feels clunky.
It does. It does.
It feels clunky. And, of course, Prometheus' theme's back.
Love it.
That descending music there. I know you wanted to mention the music that
Laurel's
played over
theme.
Black Siren, yeah.
Why is it the League of Assassins theme? League of Shadows, whatever they call it. Like, why?
League of Assassins is in this show, yeah.
Assassins in the show, yeah. It's that, like, the typical kind of Eastern woodwind thing that we've had that has been throughout every League of Assassins thing. And was this member on Earth too? Was she League of Assassins? Like I didn't get it. I was really confused. I was like, what are they insinuating with this theme?
I didn't recognize the theme, so I can't really agree or disagree with anything you just said. Because
This
you are
may be
drunk.
because no. But in my defense, I watched some of the behind the scenes things with Blake Neely and his team,
Okay.
and they've spoken about this particular theme before. How they've got this because it's a very unique instrument, and there's not that many players of it in the Western world. And they've got they had to get like a really good player in. And they've spoken about this particular theme in the past, so I remember it for that reason. And it's definitely to do with the League of Assassins. It's like, what? Why? I just don't get it. It's like the sort of the something when we go to Nanda Parbat and we get that music. It's very reminiscent of that.
All right.
I'm confused.
All right. I didn't really recognize it, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, that was obviously we had the whole thing at the end where Oliver's like, because the statue for Black Canary gets destroyed because that didn't last very long.
Good.
And Oliver's like, oh, I'm not keeping my promise to Laurel. I promised I'd train a new Black Canary that the legacy would live on.
Joe's really awkward about this scene though. Before it goes to the next bit,
because we thought it was going to start like aiming at Felicity.
Especially seeing as she'd had that bit with the punching bag earlier on.
Yeah, she was training, because we walked in on her training with a punching bag and we're like, oh my god, they're not setting her up to be a fighter.
It was like, no, this can't be happening, no.
And then we had that punch of Black Siren, which I'm sure all the Elicity shippers loved and the anti-Elicity shippers hated.
We do not take a side in this argument, but it was very clearly aimed at that.
It felt like it was. And then at the end of the episode, so he says this thing, alright, I'm going to train you Black Canary. Then we cut to a city. It says Hub City. I'm like, oh, this is nice. A little DC city. I'll appreciate that.
I don't think we've seen Hub City yet in this universe, have we?
I
don't recall it.
Nah, because I was going to say we did in Flash, but no, it was Opal City that Jesse went to.
Opal, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So this is the first time I've seen Hub City. That's pretty cool. And it goes to a bar, and there's this waitress getting kind of harassed by these two big rapey men. And I was like, oh, is it going to be...
Very cliche, as it points out.
Very cliche. Because I'm thinking, is the waitress going to beat them up? And it cuts. Obviously, we see this sort of mysterious woman sitting at the bar. Okay, it's her. She's the person of interest here, and she kind of awkwardly gives this really cliched speech about, oh, you have to, your manhood's too small, so you have to prey on innocent little women.
And
blah,
she
blah,
calls
blah.
them cliches because
she calls
they
them
are cliches.
But she gives a cliche speech as she's doing it.
Yeah.
And we then hear, it cuts to outside and we see them fly through the windows. We hear the siren, screaming sound effect. And she walks towards the window and smiles. So clearly this is going to be the Black Canary replacement. So my thoughts on this is, okay, so whoever this is, who by the way, I checked, because I didn't know who it was, so I checked. This is not someone in the comics, this is a completely new character.
I was like, I don't recall any other, because you've got Dinah and her mother. Depending on which era of comics you're at. And I was like, okay, but who's this?
I think I read her name was Tina, but we don't know in the show yet. So
they don't tell us that. And, yeah,
it's just here's someone with Black Canary powers.
But it's hard to care because
she's just a random person with.
All
Black
right,
Canary
there's
powers.
someone else who happens to have this powers that Earth 2 Siren has, but not our Black Canary. Because she never had that power. She had a tech device from Cisco, but she never had a power.
No, that's true. I don't really have anything to say. It's like fine, sure.
Yeah, it's hard to care, but I don't think it was particularly bad either.
Like we say, it was cliched. Her dialogue was very cliched, and that was making me cringe a little bit. But I think it kind of ties into the thing with this whole season, though. Is okay, the new characters and building the team are kind of fun, but at the same time, it all feels a bit shallow. It doesn't feel like they're properly being integrated into the show where I feel like I care about all these characters. Curtis has some fun lines, and he was okay last season as well, to be fair. Rennie has some moments. Ragman has some moments. He's a cool power. Artemis had some cool moments as well when she was on the team, when she was like calling Oliver out and his shit, and that was fun. But none of them feel deep. None of them feel like, oh, I really care about any of these characters. And it feels like it's just going to be another addition to that. It was almost like, oh man, we've got too many guys now and not enough girls. Let's going to get someone.
Just obviously, I'm a little bit drunk. But before I forget, I know I just complained about her theme, Laurel, Earth 2's theme. I want to, in its fairness, I cannot remember if that's what it was when she showed up in Flash. It may have been. And if it was, I retroactively apply that complaint to then. Because I'm not sure if I said it back then. But just complete fairness there.
Okay. Disclaimer, just in case anyone picks you up on it.
In case anyone remembers, I didn't complain about it when she showed up in Flash, and I should have done.
Yeah, we get no Lance in this episode. He is in rehab, so he's gone for now.
Probably for most of the season now, let's be honest.
You think?
At least till, like, episode 17 or 18.
You may be right. Of course, now you've said that, he's going to be in the first scene next week just to...
Obviously, just to shut me up, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That is how it works. That said, I quite actually like Lance as a character. He's probably one of my favourite characters on this show.
Oh, he always was. Even in season 1, he was like the best character.
No, exactly. So if I'm being proven wrong, this is one of those few times where I'm like, yes, please prove me wrong. Put him back in the show. He's enjoyable.
Yeah. Like, if I'm going to wrap this up and say something positive about the episode as a whole, I will say at least the idea of evil Earth 2 version of character who has died messing with their heads is a fun idea.
It is. It's not quite executed right, is it?
Nah, well, I think they try and tie it into the Prometheus stuff too much when they really shouldn't have. It should have just been that on its own, and it should have maybe been 2 episodes instead of 1. It should have actually had time. Like, it would have been much nicer if we had her pretending to be Laurel for like a whole episode, maybe. And then...
That's the thing. It feels like we had time because this was back before Christmas. Like, this was the cliffhanger, so it feels like we've had time for this to breathe.
But it's not, because it followed on directly.
Exactly. We've had maybe 15 minutes of this before the reveal, if that.
Yeah. So
I can't remember exactly.
So yeah, I think it maybe needed more time to breathe in that sense. But it was.
I mean, I think you said it right at the start. It was similar to quality to what we've had for the rest of this season.
Yeah, it
isn't as bad as last season.
It was a season 5 episode of Arrow. For better or worse, if that's something you've been enjoying, you'll still be enjoying it.
Yeah.
But if you're jaded and cynical like us, then probably not.
And especially if you come from Reddit, which from the most part, from what we gather, is anti-Olicity, probably didn't enjoy this one that much. Because you were probably hopeful that there was some Laurel, and then you were crushed, and then you had some Felicity digs at Olicity. So, sorry, Reddit.
Just, see, as you popped up though, and Olicity walked in, I was just like, I think I said out loud, she died in the name of Olicity, and now she's back. And now,
that is exactly what you said.
And they've split up, so how's she going to take that? I mean, if it is the real Laurel, that is, obviously she's not,
yeah.
But if it was the real Laurel, how would she take that they split up and she's like, I have died in the name for Olicity?
It almost would have been better. She would have had some comedy beats out of it, at least.
Oh well, guys, that's the first review of Arrow back after Christmas. I hope that was up to our usual drunken...
Cheers, guys.
One half drunken, me just trying to wrangle the drunkenness sheep into the pen. Full, I was going to say full spoilers again for some reason. I don't know why.
Are you sure you're not drunk?
I don't know. Someone might have spiked my Pepsi, I guess.
It is amusing. You don't drink, but I feel like Arrow brings out like an almost drunkenness in you at times.
It's a state of mind.
It is.
State of mind. You're forcing it with the booze, but sometimes you just get drunk on things.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's Arrow, guys. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to. Although it's funny with Arrow, because I feel like if you like Arrow, you probably hate our reviews of it, and you don't even make it to the end. If you do make it to the end, I assume you like the rambling and the making fun of,
and just the hatred in general.
Yeah. If you're someone who isn't that though, but you still make it to the end, I'm curious. What do you still enjoy us taking it apart? I mean, I am curious.
Well, that's the thing, because there are a lot of people that we know like Arrow even now, and we're wrong to them. But I would enjoy hearing what they think of our nonsensical, potentially drunken nonsense on the show.
I mean, it's funny because I think there's a lot of the small problems you could easily apply to the other DC shows, but
it's when they're on top of other things that it becomes annoying.
But we don't talk about them in the other shows that much because we care about what's going on, so we're invested, so it's not an issue. But when you don't like something, all the problems start to annoy you. Like all the little things, you start picking them apart, and it's just part of what it is. And there you go. So that's Arrow. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Like and subscribe, all that stuff helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. You can get our individual Twitters on the screen. But that's us, guys. you can go see Malcolm Merlin in Legends of Tomorrow. He used to be Ra's al Ghul, you know.
He's better there too.
Yeah, Reverse Flash is on there, as is Damien Dark.
Also better there. Not that that was a hard achievement.
No, he was awful last season. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.